Good evening and welcome to this edition of the Referees Corner here on IslandStats.com. I'm your host, Earl Basin, and joining me are Bermuda's three newest FIFA assistant referees in Natasha Trott, Clinton Hayward, and Stephen Mabry. First of all, congratulations to all three of you. Something that I'm really proud of, the fact that you guys have worked extremely hard over the past few years to get to this point. We still have to do that badge ceremony to make it quite official, but just to know that you guys have worked this hard and achieved such a momentous goal of getting on the FIFA assistant referee list must be something that you all are really, really proud of. Natasha, you becoming the first female in Bermuda to accomplish this, knowing that, how does that make you feel personally?
It kind of feels like a weight. It's like a huge pressure to do great. I mean, I think that I'm a pretty decent person to be number one and to carry it, but it's it's a lot to hold. I'm excited though. It's just starting. We'll see. You have to ask me that question in a few months or so.
Okay, all right. Well, we will ask you that, especially after your first official game. Hopefully, that's
Exactly.
sooner rather than later. How's that?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
yeah. Stefan, reaching that milestone after what you went through with the knee surgery, working your way back, it hasn't been an easy road. But give us a sense of when you were informed that this is actually something that has happened for you and other Bermuda officials. How does that make you feel?
Proud, very proud, and grateful and humbled. I did have a difficult road, but I set many goals and I was knocking them down, knocking them down, knocking them down, and as I knocked them down, more things became possible. Um, but to her that I made the list was relieving for one, but I was super thankful for the opportunities given to me to knock those doors down. You know, it's all fine and dandy to put the work in, but somebody still has to give you the opportunity. So it was a monumentous moment for me anyway, because sometimes you put the work in and you don't get the rewards, and it's not a lack of effort. Like, you put in all the work. I would have been kind of hurt to put in the amount of work that I put in and not achieve this, because sometimes that does happen.
Mm. And Clinton, for you, obviously, getting into the officiating side, putting in all this hard work. How did you feel when you got that message that you have now achieved something that a handful of other officials before you have achieved?
I was excited. I was really excited and proud. And I want to thank these two because without them, I would have never probably pushed on to even try and achieve it. So I was excited and thankful.
Mm. Now, the three of you, along with Tashawn Simons, he held it for 2 years. He's working his way back to getting back on the list, but knowing what Tashawn had to go through, and then seeing what you guys were going through year after year, uh, month after month, day after day in training, and given the opportunity by the international officials that came in and the local officials. Were there any moments where you said to yourself, I don't know if this is really worth it, Stefan?
Um, no, that moment would have come had I not made the list this year.
Mm,
Because I walked away from both of my tournaments this year feeling like I really did lay it all out there. Sometimes you can do a game and you feel like, man, I probably could have done a little more. I didn't walk away from these tournaments with that feeling. I felt like that really was the best display that I could put on. So to go out there and walk away feeling like, man, that was all I had. To not make it would have probably, it would have taken me some time before I felt like, okay, let's pick the baton back up and have another go at it. So I'm really thankful that I made it this time around, because I felt like that really was all I had. You know, obviously I'll grow and develop, but at the time, the two tournaments that I just did, I walked away feeling like, hey, that's all I'm got. I really did lay it all out there. cards to the center of the table, chips to the center of the table. If I don't make it, there was nothing more I could do from an effort standpoint. So that moment never came. Had I not made it this time, then yes, I would have been feeling like, yeah, I don't know if I got it or not.
Natasha, the tournaments that you've done, center stage quite a few times. How much of that growth leading up to that and the training that you've done kind of set you up to actually express yourself in those tournaments? Because you have to, every game's another show, another stepping stone, another chance to show the instructors that you deserve to be on the list.
I feel like a sponge right now. So everything that people are telling me, I'm just taking it in and trying to put it into each next game. So like the first tournament, I learned so many things. And then I brought it back to Bermuda's football. And then I went again and I used the things from that tournament in the next tournament. So yeah, I'm just basically a sponge right now. I'm taking it all in. I don't know if I answered the question, but yeah. It's
Okay.
all each tournament helps me with the next phase type of thing.
Okay. And Clinton, for you, obviously, you've done some international tournaments, but how did you feel going in, and then at the end of it all, as Stefan's already said, he laid it all on the line for these tournaments and felt like that was the best he could deliver, and he felt good about himself.
Well, I weren't able to go on the tournament that Stefan recently done, but because these two done so well and when they had to show, all I had to do was show what I could show back here when they had the FIFA course. So I had mine my flag work ain't go that sharp, but when they showed me little pointers to how to correct it and make it look better, I just incorporated it to the game that they came and showed, watched me. And they, like I said, I knocked it out the park at that game. So thanks to these two, I just had to play a small part.
Good stuff. Now, obviously, the training regiment that goes into qualifying to become a FIFA AR. Not only is it just the football part, but it's a physical part, it's the mental part, it's the, as Clinton has indicated, getting the flag right, getting the signals right, getting the communication right. How much of that repetitious stuff, because I've been to a few of you guys training sessions, even before the season started, and just the communication is key. But when it goes to the international level, it's similar, but it's at like a higher standard. So how much of the training that you guys get here helps you in that regard, that when you do international competition, it comes as a norm and not as a new? Stefan?
A lot of the training here, credit to all the instructors and assessors here. A lot of the training here is applicable. You can use it because a lot of these things have to become second nature. You spend so much time in the game focusing on being in the right place at the right time, getting the decision right in your head. It's really nice not to have to think about the flag work there afterwards because that is second nature to you. So it does help, especially in games, sir. So, like Tasha was saying, she'll go to a tournament, she'll learn X amount of information, she'll come back and she'll incorporate that information into our games here. So I approach games locally like international games. I can't just go through the motions because there are certain things that have to become second nature to me, have to be second nature. So I treat every game like it's an international game. That way, when I do have an international game, a lot of things are second nature. It all comes to me because I've practiced all those things week in and week out.
What about you, Tasha?
I think that when we go to tournaments and we come back, us three in games in Bermuda, we talk about it before the game or in the middle of the game. Like when we have games with Francis on the mic and we're talking to each other about how to raise the flag. Okay, you're looking good. All right, that was a good call, type of thing. So just holding each other accountable in the games also helps us to keep up and not fall back from what the international standards are.
Yeah. One of the things, Clinton, is getting used to the headset, um, running up and down the line, all of that type of stuff, and they do it more internationally, but they have the system here in Bermuda. How comfortable are you in using that and communicating with the other AR and the referee?
Uh, well, see, I have problems here with the headsets, which is funny, but I don't have problems internationally. It happens. Um, but once you get used to it, it's pretty much easy. You just gotta get used to using it and how to connect it to where it don't drop. Because sometimes it drops while you're running, and
Mm,
you just have to wait till the play breaks down to try fix it so that you're always on your p's and q's while doing the game.
mm. Stefan, let me ask you, Stefan. Internationally, we know that most of the time the fields the fans are far away from um, the touch line, and as opposed to in Bermuda, you guys are running up and down the touch line, and the fans are right on top of you, kind of thing. How distracting is it, especially when you're looking as an AR, you're looking across the field, that there could be spectators wearing some of those similar colors, and that's for that split second you're trying to question, you're trying to figure out, is that a player, is that a fan, you know what I mean? How distracting is that at times?
Um, not distracting at all here in Bermuda. I know what you're talking about, the fans being close, but I never thought about this. But conveniently enough, now that I think about all the places, BAA is probably the only field in which you're looking across at the fans at any point. All the other stadiums seem to be, whenever the fans are close, they seem to be behind AR1 or AR2, and that person's looking across at a blank, and the
Hmm.
other person happens to be looking across at a blank. So it's not super distracting her. Um, but you also, I think, you zone in, you focus so much that you can blur that stuff out. The only thing I find distraction sometimes is players warming up on the field
Mm,
and they have one similar colors. And all it takes is, hey ref, just call the ref to you. Can I get them to either go behind the benches or change or put on an actual be up color? But that's the
mm,
only time it's a major distraction here.
yeah. What about for you, Steph, Clinton? Do you get distracted at times with colors in the background?
Mm, like Stephen said, only when it's players warming up. BAA, because it's a fence before the fans, you could tell that, okay, past that point, that's just fans, so you know where your players are and where to be.
Mm,
But yeah, no real distractions unless it's players.
mm. I'm going to ask all three of you, when it comes to international competition, just before you go out on the field, do you get nervous? Do you get butterflies? I know you get a talking to with the other AR and the referee and the match commissioner and all, but you personally, do you get butterflies? I'm going to start with you, Natasha, because I saw the big grin even though you got on the mask.
Um, no, I don't think that I do get butterflies or nervous really, because I've done so much preparation before the match that I go in there ready. So no.
Okay, all right. Randy?
I get them on the plane ride over. Once I touch down, I'm all good after that.
Okay, all right, good.
They,
Stefan?
they used to have ice in the veins because I got them. I got them. I I definitely do, but they don't bother me. They don't throw me off.
Mm,
Um, because I know I have them all in the build up to the game, all of my match prep, everything. It's just the pressure I'm putting on myself. Sometimes I feel like I put more pressure on myself than I even have to. Um, but I'm in like the constant pursuit of perfection, and I put that crazy amount of pressure on myself. But I know once I get into the game, usually I can feel it. I can feel it go away. All it
mm,
takes is one little throw in or one or two calls after I've made my first couple calls. Then I'm settled in and the pressure's gone. And I really enjoyed the rest of the game. And some games I'll even get into, I don't even know what to call it. It where I get into a mind frame, like a zone. It doesn't happen every time, but every now and then I'll get into a zone and I feel like there's no game too big for me. Like
Mm,
who I am right now in this moment, I'm above the game. I'm really on my mark, and that's the best feeling. And that's no butterflies at all. That high is what I'm looking for. That I guess it's my own arrogance. Like, man, let's get all our calls right today. Can we do that? And when you get in a zone where you feel like, man, I'm really focused. I'm really zoned in. I'm gonna hit all my marks. It's nothing like that feeling for me anyway.
mm. Now, you all knew what it took to get on this list, and it's a tough journey. How difficult do you think it's going to be to stay on the list now that you have to perform at the level, but also perform locally and stay in all the shape, pass the courses, pass everything? So how difficult do you think it will be to stay on? And I'm going to start with you, Clinton.
I would say I think it's just as difficult to get one. It's just as difficult to stay one. So we gotta try keep at the high level the whole way through.
Mm, mm. Stefan?
I think it'll be a challenge to stay on as far as um not a challenge like, oh man, I can't do it. A challenge meaning arriving is not just it. You don't just get on and okay, cool, you got a few years before of guaranteed being on the list. It's not the case. I feel like the pressure is now higher than before we got on, because now it's okay, we've given you an opportunity, we've put you on this list, and you really don't want to prove people wrong for believing in because people have to go to bat for you. You don't do this when you're earned. There's a lot of people who have to make a lot of decisions, and I'm sure somewhere along the line multiple people have spoken up on my behalf, and you don't want to prove those people wrong, so it puts a lot of pressure on yourself. And Dave Meikle actually said to me at my last tournament, he was talking to a group of us, the Caribbean referees, and he was saying, the higher the monkey climbs, the more he's exposed.
Mm,
So, now that you've got this badge, everything you do is going to be magnified even more. There are things that you were able to let slide before that can't now. Your FIFA now, the standard is higher, and therefore, your game has to be higher now.
mm. What about you, Natasha?
I think that it's gonna be more difficult to stay on. I, the getting on was the easy part. It was like, okay, you pass a test, you go to a tournament, you did good, okay, good job, you get to be on the list. Now to stay, the standard is so high. Like Stephen said, it's so much expectation for you to be great. But I think we're up for the challenge.
Mhm. Now that you guys are on, it's it's kind of like a pool system. So you had one person on, that person pulls three more on. Now it's your turn to kind of pull, but also keep your level there. Who are some of the people that you want to pull with you? So maybe next year we have five. Maybe next year we have, even if we have four, but we want to be adding each time to ensure that Bermuda stays at this level with someone within that FIFA ranking. I can start with you, Stephen.
Yeah, I was chomping at the bit for that one.
I
I
know.
don't want to discourage anybody by singling out individuals and saying, "Hey, I really want this individual
Hmm.
to come along." But well, glaringly, obviously, is Amari, who
Hmm.
we three, along with Amari, have developed this bond of the four of us trying to achieve one goal together. So Amari is somebody I would love to see on the list and join us on the list. I would love to see Tashawn come back on the list.
Hmm.
Um, just because the camaraderie of having us all together, all on the list together and training together. But as far as young referees, and he reminds me of myself, this is what I was trumping at the bit for. And I'm embarrassed to say I don't even remember his last name, but it's a kid named Jonah. And
Mm.
Shot.
he reminds me of his last name's Trot.
Yes.
Jonah Trot, and he reminds me of myself. The first time I met Jonah was actually on a Zoom meeting. I think it was a course somebody was putting on, and I'd never seen this kid before. He was speaking up, and I'm like, "Is that sounds like me?" Like he didn't just take the answer yes because the answer was given to him. He
Hmm.
wanted to understand it, and if he didn't understand it, he didn't just say yes. He said, no, I don't agree with that. And if you explained it to him, he'd say, I understand, but I still don't agree. But and I'm like, man, it's like listening to myself. But he's really committed. Like he's a long ways away as far as age, but I hope he sticks to the course. And he's somebody I'm definitely willing to take under my wing. And I don't know
Mm.
if having two of me is a good thing or not. I actually think it's detrimental. But anyway,
I'm laughing because when you identify yourself like that, you kind of you give yourself a title, but you also make sure that there's other people around you that are similar to whatever and if you could identify those people, maybe you can help because obviously nothing's ever perfect. So where you struggle, he might struggle, and you can actually help because you've already been down that road, kind of thing. So Clinton, anybody, well, not you don't have to identify anyone, but it'd be nice to see what could you do to help pull the next group along and help them achieve this goal.
I'm good at running. So, if you're looking for a running partner, I'm there with you. I'll go with you, at your pace, whatever you're willing to do. But at the end, like you, old people used to tell you all the time, you could take a horse down to the river, but you can't force them to drink. So, I'm willing to help you if you're willing to help yourself. Saying you got to be dedicated and want it. So, I'm there to help anybody who's willing to push the whole way through.
Sure. Natasha, I know you want some females with you.
I was just about to say, I want some females in the lineup, I'm all alone for now, but I think that that'll change once they see the opportunities that come with it. Definitely some females, or maybe a whole team, like a referee and another assistant. Oh, and then a fourth. Man, it's a dream.
I
But
know.
getting on the list was a dream. So they're attainable.
Sure, definitely.
Hmm.
I know the chairman would be smiling. Well, not necessarily smiling because he was hoping to have four, so he could possibly walk away. But the four ARs is not a complete team, so he has to wait a while. And I think the president of the association has already told him that, hey, no, you haven't met your goal. You have improved, you know, drastically, but we haven't met the goal that was set. So unfortunately, Mr. Chairman, um, you stay in the position. But the support that you guys have had over the last, I would say, 4 or 5 years, um, would looking at it, would you guys still be involved in the game if you weren't like pushed? I mean, I know one thing about Mr. Williams, he gives you what you need, and he's also always behind you, supporting you and pushing you. Do you think that's what you guys needed to get you over the hurdle? And I'll start with you, Clinton.
Yeah, yes, everybody needs support. Um, and Cranston's done an amazing job with all three of us, and even well, not even just all three of us, every referee in the association right now. And then he's backed by his team with instructors and his own committee, and they're behind everybody 100%, probably even more than 100%. So that was very important. Everybody, like I said, everybody needs a push, a kick if it's needed, a slap, something to help them and see the end goal.
Mm,
So I'm thankful for it. Thankful.
sure. What about you, Natasha?
What's the question?
Just having somebody like Mr. Williams, kind of supporting everybody, you know, pushing them even further than what they would have expected to come in as.
Definitely needed. I He definitely gives a push. There's so many people involved in getting us to where we are that I think it's definitely necessary. Nothing is. I don't think that anything is really won by the person itself. Just man success, one man success. Um, yeah, support is definitely needed, and I hope that it continues. Even if Cranston leaves, we already told him that he's not, but at some point he might. It's going to be needed when he leaves, so someone will need to step up. Maybe that someone is us, depending on where we are, but support is definitely necessary for growth.
Mm. And Melody Saylor.
yeah, I think Natasha was spot on when she said it's not a one man thing. This is definitely a group effort. Like I feel like my badge is not just for me. It's for all the people who helped put in work with me. Not just Cranston and the assessors, but these two as well. These two with me. Somewhere along the line, we developed a bond, and it's been really, really enjoyable to chase a common goal together. But you need those people in your corner. Like I said, you don't make it on this list without somebody going to bat for you. Somewhere along the line, somebody believed in you, and they spoke up on your behalf. And Cranston, I don't know if you'll find another Cranston in that he believes in you beyond what your present day capabilities are. It's all fine and dandy to have that belief in me. But if I don't have that ability yet, I don't have that ability yet. But he don't want to hear that. His his like, hey, I think you could do it, therefore you can do it. And I get don't work like that. But you need somebody like that though. He fools you into thinking you're bigger than you are. And lo and behold, you go and you perform at the level he said you could. But at the time, you're like, bro, I'm not there yet. I'm talking about from grassroots right on up. Like my first game, I think I'd only done like maybe one or two first division games, if that. He was like, yeah, I'm got you on a premier game. And it was a big game. And I'm like, whoa, what? He's like, yeah, cool. You're like, are you almost like to say, are you telling me you're dumb? I'm like, no, I'm not dumb. But he's like, okay, then there you go. But you need somebody like that. And he is that person. And we have a great supporting cast. Francis, Martin, Jackson, Lloyd. A lot of people have picked up the mantle as far as what we have to do as a team to get these people on the list, and I'm so thankful for those people. And like my badge is not just for me; it's for those people as well. Like I never want to forget the people that's in my corner, and we have some major assets here in Bermuda. And for the young people who may be listening to this, all you have to do is put the work in. Everybody else seems to take care of everything else. You just bring your work rate. If you never had a flag, never had a whistle, never distribute a card, anything, but you got work rate, just come with the work rate, and they'll mold you into whatever you have to be. Just bring the work rate.
Sure. Well, I'm going to bring in the chairman because I saw him behind the scenes, grinning from ear to ear because this is a proud moment for the Bermuda Football Association, and as chairman, Mr. Williams, it's got to be a proud moment for you to witness now 3 people on the FIFA list, something that you've been working towards for a number of years.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, I'm gonna say congrats to my 3 amigos on the call. They have withstood the test of time. COVID came and kind of tried to disrupt our program, but they showed me that they were willing to continue no matter what. So I must say, yes, I am very, very proud of them. As you stated earlier, it started with 1, Tashawn, not to be forgotten. That's where it all started. And he'll be back next year. But these 3, in particular, I'm very proud of Staffen. I have to single out Staffen because when Staffen came along, Staffen went under 15, with Randy. And then Staffen had to get surgery. There was no football in Bermuda for a year, but he persevered and persevered and persevered. And when Staffen first came to us, Staffen came from the Corona League. I believe Garrick Swinson was the one who told me about Staffen. There's this young kid fishing in the Corona League. I told him come to the BFA. I also knew that he was a sailor. So I was like, okay, let's see what he can do. So when he came over, and I think we had our first couple of courses, he drove one of our instructors, Lyndon Wren, absolutely insane because Staffen questions every single thing you say. When I say he questions everything, he questions everything. But I was like, as a school teacher, I'm like, hey, he's young, he wants to learn, he has that hunger. So I said, no, the instructors and myself might committed to find a way to harness his passion. So I was like, all right, like he said, he had done a couple of youth games, and then I was like, well, if he has all this mouth and all this knowledge, let's see what he can really do. So here you go, drop him right into the fire. And he did what he had to do. And I sent him along with Alana, who's no longer with us, she's back in Barbados, to under 15s. The irony is that when the reports came back, because that was something the president and the executive of the BFA told me, that when the reports come back, question exactly where the weaknesses were. Ironically enough, Mr. Haywood was the only one when his report came back that said it has the potential to be the FIFA assistant referee. So I took that and said, well, Mr. Haywood, if this is what this is telling me, regardless of what you want to say, potential was there. And I knew that Staffen had a couple of things he had to work on. So like they said, I was like, yeah, you're getting on the FIFA list. So to actually get the email on the day we call Sir Grimes Day was one of those moments where I was very, very emotional. And, I sent him a message because I got Natasha's email about her report previously. I know Natasha was already a shoe-in, but I was waiting on Stephen. So it was like, you heard rumors say like, okay, maybe possibility, but to see it officially in writing on Sir Grimes Day was, bittersweet. And I had to come on early because normally I don't, but listen to these three. Yeah, they're saying that with me walking away. I told them that several times because when you look at what they've done and others don't necessarily put in that same work rate, it becomes very disheartening. But because of them now, I guess you'd say I realize I have to stay for at least 6 months so that we can go to the under 15s and then hopefully get another crew come behind them. See, I know that laughing, but that's what it is. We talk, we crack jokes all the time. And I know on the day when I present on the badges, that's going to be probably the highlight, one of the highlights, I should say, of my, time on the BFA because, and especially now Natasha, the first female, I remember going to that referee's course and, Brian Hole, like he challenged me, like, what do you mean you can't find any females? You got one person on the list, so why you can't find females? And I was looking at him like, what, you don't understand what I said? I don't have any. There now, Natasha comes and just breaks the mood. So now it's like, well, you got one, so you have to get more. So the work continues. But yeah, I'm just really proud of these guys because, as I said, they train on the end. I don't have to say to them, let's go. You guys have to do this. They understood the mission. And it was like Stephen said, when he went to under 20s, I kept telling Stephen, when you leave the island, you are representing everybody. And he got there and understood precisely what I meant. So because of him, and Randy did what he had to do in under 14 tournament, it was like, all right, everybody's come from the same place, so this is what it is. And Natasha, she went on the 17s. She also understood the mission, and now we have 3. So I'm just looking forward to next year. We should have 6. That's my prediction for next year because it seems like when I make predictions early, they come true. Because the last year I said we're going to have 3 more, now we have 3. So I'm saying 6 for next year.
Well, the pressure's on these 3 to stay and 3 others to come.
To stay, they know that I don't believe in failure. And we speak all the time. We say excellence is a must. So therefore, if they exemplify excellence, and it starts, I told them, from the minute they leave home and how they do their daily lives, they will be on the list next year. That's not a question. That's a definite.
Well, Mr. Williams, obviously, I want to congratulate you and your committee, the assessors, the other referees that have assisted these 3 and others to raise the bar, because now that the bar has been raised with 3, some of the young people have something to strive towards. And obviously, if we get 6, then it just keeps increasing in that regard. But the bar's been set, was set by Tashawn. Is now having others to join him over that hurdle, and now we just need a few more to really solidify Bermuda's spot as officials on that FIFA list. So the job is not done, folks. Keep encouraging your colleagues, encouraging those people that are sometimes behind you in the games, telling you that wasn't offside or that wasn't the right call, or they could come on board. They could show up to training. You just give them dates and times that they could show up to training and get all the lessons, and then it'll be their turn on that side of defense. And 9 times out of 10, that person either shuts up or shows up. So, it is what it is. But I want to congratulate you 3 as well as the Bermuda Football Association for Cranston, for you guys, the executive, for pushing these young people into achieving a goal that they had set for themselves. I don't know how long ago, but they had set for themselves, and the others that are chasing to reach that goal. So with that, any parting words, Mr. Williams?
Well, I would say that to my executive of the BFA, my strategic plan for 21 to 23 did have that by 2022 we'd have 4 persons on the FIFA list. I should have had 4, but we have 3. So I did tell them I sort of met my goal. But as an educator, you're always challenging yourself. And now the president, he's already said my goal now, the goalposts have moved. So now he says I have to have a team. His brain, the team is I need a referee. So I'm going to say it now. Come 2022 December, there will be a team of Bermuda officials on the FIFA list with a referee, including these guys, plus 2 more ARs, because there is Amari Majors, who technically would have been up with them, but because of his age. Then we have a certain Mr. Donald, who we're going to work on this year. And we have Mr. Simons, and potentially also might have Mr. Adriel Charles. So actually, it might be 7.
Okay, well, we look forward to that, and not only making it a challenge to achieve the goal, but making it a joy to and want to celebrate that when these young people meet these achievements, we celebrate them in the way they should be celebrated, because they actually do represent Bermuda. I know a lot of people only support Bermuda when they're playing a game, but now to have officials in a game, you know, they're representing the country as well. So hold the flags high, let them know where you're from, and let them know that others are coming. So with that, I say good night. And again, congratulations, season's greetings to each and every one of you.
And also